How much of your life is spent waiting? I had to wait for these computers to turn on. I've had to wait for the bus. I've had to wait for things to load. But I've also waited for things that I never ended up doing. I waited for the perfect opportunity or the right time. If there's something that you love to do, there's no pressure. There is no pressure. Now, you can be scared. You can be nervous. But there's no pressure. And it isn't more so a thing of people's expectations that, they don't matter. It doesn't matter. Whatever. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that if there's something that, is a part of you, sharing it with the world shouldn't feel like anything scary. Because you are giving a gift to people. You are giving a gift out to whoever is present, whoever watches later, whoever hears about it. What if it inspires them? There should be no pressure in trying to achieve your dreams. And you could trust me because I've made it. No, that's exactly why I'm making this video and everything, because I want to bring up the idea that you don't always need to wait to do something that you like to do. I've noticed throughout this year that it has been a year of loss for me personally. I've lost my connection to high school. I've watched my team lose a Game 7 to OKC. I've lost probably the most important connection in my life. And I lost a good friend of mine. And what I take away from this experience of, loss isn't that I should give up, but more so that what was here before isn't what's always going to be here forever. 2026 as a year doesn't even sound real. So knowing that we're heading into it now is kind of crazy. You know, we were supposed to, I don't know, we were supposed to play GTA 6 by now, but I don't think that's ever happened. I've been gone from a lot of places mainly because I deleted social media. I've come back here or there, just to scroll through some posts and then delete it again. Mainly because it's pretty addicting, which I wonder why I deleted it. But in the deletion, it really made me understand that this isn't something that I need in my life. Sure, it is a great connection to people who I don't normally get the chance to speak to every day. And, you know, when it makes me miss those people. But I would argue that it makes those connections, when you see them again, all the more sweet. Because, you know, instead of seeing your homie and dapping him up, knowing that you didn't respond to half the reels he sent you, you know, you're just happy to see him again. I don't know what I'm going on about, but what I would suggest for whoever is willing is to try to get off it if you can. I always had the philosophy that if something was important enough to where somebody needed to reach me, you know, they would be able to. It's not like I always need to have Instagram downloaded to make sure that I'm keeping up with my messages. Anybody who's sent me anything knows that. All of my messages are undelivered for probably the past 6 months at this point, but I digress. On the same line of loss, it's the idea of change. I feel as if, as I said before, nothing can stay the same. And I started noticing this when I realized that a lot of the creators that I was following or had some interest in, they were either stopping or making, you know, severe altercation to their content, whatever they were doing. Creators like, you know, biggest one, Jay Schlatt. That dude quit one of his channels. Things can't stay the same, no matter how much money you're bringing in for them. You know, if you're not getting any fulfillment out of them, it's, at the end of the day, you know, you're the one sitting alone in your bedroom. Money's cold, man. Money's cold. Another creator, Doug Doug is another one who's switching up. Thaf9, T6. What is more? Oh, Tommy Innit. Dude switched to comedy. Crazy. And a favorite of mine, quite like his music, Nakey Jakey. Fantastic creator. If you haven't seen him, you should check him out. Makes great music. Anyways. I've noticed that a lot of my usual people who I'm interested in, they've all realized that what they're doing is no longer sustainable. And not just purely out of the money side, because I'm sure Schlatt can make 10 more React videos that go, 1 out of 10 in YouTube Studio and make billions, but more so, who do I want to be, And I think that's the question that we have to ask ourselves for the next year. It's a question we have to ask every year, but I wanted to point out that change is on the horizon. And for as much as things were very nice, they can't be this way anymore. And that doesn't mean that they have to be, depressing, and you don't always have to be, in the mud and whatever, yada yada. But you have to make some sort of change in your life that you never thought you were going to have to make. What a blessing it is to try something new and be embarrassed about it. Because being embarrassed meant that, you had enough people who care about you that they had an expectation, or you perceive that they have an expectation of who you are. Because, me personally, if I go out into a crowd and, there's nobody, like, I don't care about anybody in the crowd, I can make a fool of myself and I don't mind. But, embarrassing yourself is such an underrated thing to do, because it puts yourself in a position of growth. It's really hard nowadays to grow because it's really easy to make money out of things that are the same. If you can predict things, you can get some sort of income out of them. So having the ability to give that up and try something new, even if you're bad, you will be bad. I picked up basketball after graduating high school, at the age of 18. I've always liked basketball. It's fun to watch. I never really knew anything, really, but it has been such a blessing in my life through all of these times of hardship, because it's allowed me to look back on something that I was trash at and think about how much I've grown from it. And, I'm not saying that I'm out here Anthony Edwards dunking on people. I'll still brick a wide open three, but it's the growth of knowing that I took that shot. Through all these times of change, we ball. So try something new. Even it doesn't have to be anything that's necessarily typical, like learn an instrument or whatnot. And if it is, that's cool too. I just hope with this that somebody is able to gain some sort of inspiration or knowledge or insight going into this new era, I guess, and make a change that, they didn't expect themselves to make. I'm trying something new. So, what a blessing it is to be embarrassed. And my hope for you all going into this next year is that all of the time you've spent waiting up to this point isn't wasted. However, you will spend a lot less time waiting in the next year. Thank you. Have yourselves a damn good one. R.I.P. Etika. R.I.P. to Vince. Thank you, everybody, and see you in the new year.